All right, let's update you on the Woodstock situation. Monday, we told you both sides were going to court. Michael Lang and Dentsu Aegis, the people that were funding the festival, the people that sent out the cancellation notice, they testified Monday and Tuesday, and then late yesterday, we got word of the ruling from the judge. And just to summarize, essentially what they said is that what we've talked about. Dentsu, even though they've been funding this whole thing, they are just the financiers. They have no right to cancel the festival. So the Judge Barry Ostrander, ruled in favor of Woodstock 50 that yes, it's still continuing. They can put it on. Dentsu has no right to cancel the festival, but he did say, because if you remember, they sent out the cancellation of the festival, and then they pulled their money out. There was like $17 million in the bank account that they were operating under. They pulled that money right out as soon as they did that. And I think that's why they canceled it, because they wanted to get that $17 million back. The judge says they do not have to return that money. That doesn't belong to the festival, which is kind of like, I guess, sort of both sides won a little bit there. But to me, I feel like Woodstock is the big winner here, because by him saying you have no right to cancel the festival, I feel like what's going to follow this, and they're going to head into arbitration, by the way, what's going to follow this is a lawsuit, which is the damages that are going to incur if they can't find somebody else to come in and finance this. Dentsu dragged their name through the mud. That's damages, to me at least. Whatever, negligence they said was going on behind the scenes, that they wouldn't be able to pull this thing off, they're going to have to prove that in court, which I think is going to be a little bit difficult to do, seeing as that they were so far away. There's no way to prove that you couldn't pull off a festival in that amount of time. That's going to be hard to convince somebody of that. So, I think Dentsu is in the wrong here. They did release a statement that said, and this just kind of proves how kind of wrong they were, and how not on the winning side of things that they were. They released a statement through a spokesperson saying, quote, "We feel vindicated to hear that the court agreed with what we have maintained all along. Woodstock 50 was not entitled to the access, the festival bank account per the contract, and thus any access is denied, and the $17.8 million remains with Amplifi Live," end quote. You guys you guys said the festival would not happen because they couldn't do it. They couldn't pull it off. That's what you've been maintaining, not that you get your money back. So it's kind of a real loser statement, if you ask me, on Dentsu's part. Like, if we told you we were going to get our money back. No, that's not what you said. This all started with you saying they can't pull off this festival. That's why we're canceling it. That's how this started. And the judge went against you on that, which, like I said, I feel opens the door for damages if they can't pull this off. Now, Gregory Peck of Woodstock 50 LLC took to the witness stand, and he said that Woodstock 50 needed Dentsu's money back or funds to replace it within days to stage the festival, because he said the festival is broke. So I guess they're still looking for some way to fund this thing moving forward. And unless they get that, I would assume in the next couple of days. The last we heard from Michael Lang was last Friday was the deadline for them to bring in some more financing for this. And that obviously came and went. And we haven't heard them say, yeah, we got this, we got money going on. Without that said, maybe they were kind of like, counting on that $17 million being put back into the bank. That I don't know. But it felt like even still with that, you would still need somebody to come in here and float the day-to-day operations of trying to pull off this festival. Here's the interesting thing. If you go to Woodstock.com, they've put a statement up in light of the judgment saying, "Thank you, Woodstock Nation. To the more than 100,000 of you who have responded to our situation with support and solidarity, a heartfelt thank you. Our intention holds firm to deliver a world-class, once-in-a-lifetime festival to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, to honor a cultural icon that changed the way we think about music and togetherness. We will do, and we'll do so again. We're in this together as reflected by your words of support. So I love this claim here coming from Woodstock now that they've had more than 100,000 people respond to their situation in support and solidarity. We don't know how many people signed up for their email list. They're not going to release that information. Why would they? To get updated when tickets would go on sale. I would imagine that increased when this thing got canceled. And I would imagine that they continued to get people signing up for updates on when, an announcement would happen to whether or not this thing was going to go down or not. So it's more than plausible that they do have a sizable email list. What I'm curious about moving forward is if they can secure financing elsewhere, why wouldn't they go the 2018, 2019 normal route of getting things done, which is crowdsource the financing? If you really do have over 100,000 people supporting you, ask them for $10 a piece. Ask them for $20 a piece. Ask them to give what they can give. If I know I'm going to put down $450 to buy tickets for this, if I know I need to throw in another 50 to make it happen, I'll do it. I wouldn't love it. But if I'm sitting there looking at this lineup, again, a lot of you are in the mindset of there's no way in hell I'm going to upstate New York in the middle of August to see that awful lineup. And that's cool. You must be on Twitter. But if you're genuinely excited about seeing the Killers and Santana and the Lumineers and the Raconteurs and Robert Plant on stage the same day, and you're like, I don't care what that's going to cost, I'm going, you are probably paying $450 for this, and there's nothing stopping you from plunking down another $100 to, help make sure that it happens. I appreciate, and I don't really know what the finances are altogether of this festival, but I can imagine that any bit of a cash infusion would certainly help. I mean, if everybody gave $100, if they got 100,000 people to give $100 up front, it's $10 million. That's got to help somewhat. Supposedly, according to Billboard, the money that they were looking for was $20 million. So, who really knows? And who knows if people would really give the $100 to do this, or $50 or whatever, or $200? Who knows? I'm just saying, if I'm Michael Lang right now and I can't get anybody to, sign a check for me, I'm gonna go on a crowdsourcing route for sure. You've got to think that that's the last gasp and the last attempt. That is judging by the fact that this quote unquote 100,000, more than 100,000 supporters are legitimately there, and that if you can get the money from them. I just still can't imagine, unless this is an absolute horror show, why anybody wouldn't put this money up. Because it feels like it's going to make money. It feels like you're going to get a return. It feels like if you only need to sell 75,000 to 100,000 tickets, it's not going to be a difficult thing to do. I just still have that feeling, especially now that it's got all this press and buzz behind it. You know what I mean? So that's the latest behind Woodstock 50. Judge rules Dentsu gets to keep their $17 million they took out of it, but they have no right to cancel the festival. I think it's a win for Woodstock. It keeps them alive at the very least. It lets them live to fight another day. How many days they have left, who knows? We'll find out sooner or later, that's for sure. And we'll know if it's getting really desperate if we get a GoFundMe email from Michael Lang. Then we know we're on the last gasp for sure. But I'm curious because we've seen some crazy things get funded in the past. Would people plunk down $50, even if they had no intention of going, if they just wanted to see it? I'm not going to lie to you. I have no intention of going up there. There's no way I'm standing in the middle of the field in August in upstate New York. But I would like to hear that music on a CD later or on Spotify later. I might throw $25 their way. I might throw $50 their way just to see this thing get pulled off. Because in an ironic way, Michael Lang's become the underdog here now. just like he was the first time. It's kind of the underdog story. You have a big fat corporation trying to ruin what he's trying to pull off. That's an underdog story. If they know how to, play their cards right, if they got a good PR team, they'll get that out there. Might help them get that financing that they need.